From celebrities like Dwayne The Rock Johnson to influencers like Mr. Beast, the pursuit of the ultimate selfie has been around for almost 2 decades. In fact, those attempting to do so often put themselves at incredible risk. When it pays off, you have a great picture to show off. When it doesn't, it could spell the end of life as you know it. With the selfie boom reaching new heights, and in some cases, literally 8,000 feet, 2,438 meters above sea level, it is important to look at some ridiculous selfie incidents that may have cost the lives of many who sought that perfect profile pic. Strap yourself in for a wild ride as we look at some of the strangest deaths in history. Death by selfie incidents. Number 1. The Union Pacific selfie incident. On a normal October day in 2011, a post appeared on Facebook. The post read, "Standing right by a train, ahaha, this is awesome." This would be the work of Savannah Webster, who had been near the Union Pacific train rolling through Utah's scenic Spanish Fork Canyon. With her was Essa Ricker and her sister Kelsey Webster, both 15 years old at the time. The trio were merely waving at the train crew, but the ultimate goal was to attain a selfie. Whilst the three were waving along, they were merely staring at one of the departing trains and completely unaware of what was approaching behind them. In fact, the selfie still reveals the headlights of the approaching train being visible. According to the train conductor, Mr. John Anderson, they were in their own little world. Once they had been spotted, Michael Anderson, who does not have any relation to the train conductor John, began sounding the train's horn. He was trying to get the attention of the 3 girls, but no response, not even a flinch from the 3 girls. Seeing the dangers ahead, the train's emergency brake was immediately engaged, but a train traveling at 55 miles per hour, 90 kilometers per hour, often takes more than a mile, 1.6 kilometers, to come to a stop. Tragedy struck just a few seconds later as the train barreled through the girls at around 39 miles per hour, 63 kilometers per hour. According to John Anderson, we saw them for about 12 seconds until they disappeared from our sight, and the train continued forward. Once the train came to a stop, John Anderson rushed back to the railroad crossing, where he found Savannah, the youngest of the 3, in agonizing pain. She would be rushed to hospital with numerous lacerations and broken bones, but John continued hoping she'd survive. Unfortunately, Savannah passed away 3 days later. Number 2. Shot while posing. A unique trend has been rearing its head in numerous counties and towns in the United States. The rise of guns has meant that teens now also want to show off their pics while holding such a weapon to their friends. Unfortunately, not all children understand the dangers of a firearm. On Friday, June 3, 2016, a 15-year-old by the name of DeMontez Jones was posing with his father's firearm. The ordeal, which happened at around 7:30 p.m., sent shockwaves through the local community. It was found that Jones and his 3 older brothers were at home at the time. His mother and her fiancé were not at the residence when the ordeal took place. Police did do a full investigation and found that Jones got his hands on the firearm, which was unprotected on the top shelf of a bedroom closet. Jones was immediately rushed to hospital after the ordeal, but succumbed to his injuries. Investigators did launch a full investigation, ruling out foul play. They would later determine that it was, in fact, the truth, and DeMontez Jones did try to pose for a selfie. Number 3. Selfie at Seven Sisters Cliff goes wrong. One of the most incredible selfies you can find on the internet are those taken near cliffs. In fact, the combination of fear and adrenaline often translates over these pictures. Unfortunately, there are a few real risks associated with these selfies, as seen in 2017. On June 22nd, a woman by the name of Hwaiwon Kim made a trip to Cuckmere Haven in East Sussex. At this location was the Seven Sister Cliff, which often creates some of the most incredible social media images. The woman, who had made the journey by herself, flagged down a stranger to take a picture. The plan was to jump in the air as the snapshot was taken. But just 24 hours earlier, a significant fall of rocks was spotted near the area. This meant that the ground was a little unstable. Whilst the young lady had no apparent idea of this, she continued with her plan of the ultimate selfie. However, after jumping in the air, she could not make the landing, which caused her to lose her footing and plunge around 200 feet, 60 meters, to her death. Once the incident had been investigated, the coroner determined that the official cause of death was nothing more than a misadventure. One of the people summoned to the area was Mark Webb from East Sussex Fire and Rescue. According to him in an interview with the BBC, this was an unnecessary loss of life. This was an incredibly sad incident, leading to the unnecessary loss of a very young life. What we would say is to urge people to stay well away from cliff edges. But this would not deter anyone, as another woman in 2023 would be ridiculed for taking this same kind of image. Now, this was a little wild, but even a place as simple as a zoo has its own dangers. Number 4. Woman mauled by a jaguar. On March 9, 2019, a woman who was visiting an Arizona zoo found herself battling for her life. The woman also wanted to get the perfect selfie, but her target was a jaguar, one of the most dangerous animals in the Americas. But even though the woman survived the ordeal with non-life-threatening injuries, it is still suspected that she crossed the barriers into the jaguar encampment as a way of trying to take a selfie. However, Adam Wilkerson explained the situation from his point of view. According to Wilkerson, he and his family ran over to the encampment once they heard screams. He noted that the woman was pinned against a fence with jaguar claws holding her arm. It would only be the quick thinking of his mother that saved her life. Wilkerson continued by saying that his mother ran behind the jaguar and threw her water bottle through the fence. This created enough of a distraction for the woman to get out of the encampment. She would later return to the zoo, where she would apologize for the entire ordeal, accepting that she was at fault. This woman might not have lost her life, but she certainly came within seconds of it happening. It once again proved that animals are not your friends for selfies, and they are still wild animals. Number 5. Linn of Tummell Waterfall Incident. One of the most recent incidents to take place was once again in the United Kingdom. This time it was 2 University of Dundee students who tragically lost their lives after falling into a waterfall. The 2 men in question were Jitamdramath Karaturi and Chanhakya Boliseti, who were 26 and 22 years old respectively. According to reports, the 2 men were trying to take a picture at the waterfall. Whilst no concrete reports have been made due to the recent nature of the incident, it is believed the 2 men slipped and plunged into the river below. The Scottish Fire and Rescue Service suggests that the 2 were ultimately swept away into the river below. It would take a couple of harrowing hours as medical services continued to scour the site in search of the 2 young men. By the time medical services arrived for the 2 individuals, both of them had sadly lost their lives. With the incident only happening recently on April 17, 2024, information regarding the incident is still scarce. It is expected that a full investigation was underway, but the full report has not yet been released by the time of writing of this video. It once again goes to show the dangers of these incidents and how quickly things can go wrong. Mother Nature is known for its impeccable beauty, but it often doesn't act kind to many of the people trying to get the perfect selfie. There's no doubt this selfie trend will continue, but we would like to urge everyone to take precautions and remain as safe as possible. We would like to thank you for watching, and since we don't use any AI in our videos to keep it all true and ensure the facts, your support is greatly appreciated and gives us the opportunity to continue creating these videos. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video.